Hey guys, Infidel1258 here. Today I'm going to share with you a clip from a recent YouTube live with this was members only, and Jim Morgan was hanging out. In this one we're going to talk about the Ali vote with the anti-bot measures, how he was originally a no. We're going to spend a good half an hour really unpacking how I feel about a guy with 6 million SPS using his personal stake to say no to a proposal like this, even though he's part of that, overseeing that DAO. This was not the DAO funds, and so should that be even permissible? And so we're talking about that for a good while, but then at the end, we're going to talk about how he changed his no to a yes. So if you didn't know that, he did. And definitely check out the town hall tonight. It's going to be a powerful one, full of fireworks, because this topic's going to come up, I think. And people are upset about that vote being a no in the first place. So if you're interested in that topic, stick around, stay tuned. If you're sick of the bot conversation, maybe click on the next video. Have an amazing day. God bless. Hey guys, Infidel1258 here. I am hanging out with Jimbo, and we are going to be talking Splinterlands and maybe some Golem Overlord and
Yay.
I don't know. There's controversy in the air. I don't know. I'm kind of sick of this conversation with the bots, but it's people keep talking about it, and it's like, I don't know. I mean,
It's just the big thing right now, you know?
yeah.
People have to talk about it. You can't not.
Yeah. Yeah, and I do, like, I think everybody who would be watching this video, meaning the people who support my channel, know my opinion already, which is that I see the complexity of this, meaning that it would be beneficial in many regards if we were just a human experience and humans fought humans, and I could see a lot of benefit out of that. But I also I don't see it as easy, nor do I see it as entirely beneficial or entirely, let's say, clean. And yet people are adamant, and so have you seen like these like there's just a bunch of tension in comments, like, well, there's always tension in comments, Discord, Twitter. It's all just like a lot of spice around, you know, the guy Ali or whatever using his personal SPS to vote no on that proposal. Did you hear about that?
Well, yeah, it wasn't his personal stuff. That was the DAO Foundation.
No, he oversees the DAO Foundation, but there's like 50 million or something in the DAO Foundation. He didn't use the DAO funds.
Oh, okay. That's what it made it. Okay, all right. Then I just like completely misunderstood.
You know what? I don't think you misunderstood. I think people are packaging the information in such a way where it's like it is misunderstood. It's what's the word? Not misunderstanding. Like I think it's almost being like intentionally suggested in a certain way, in a certain light. And I mean, I don't know how much I want to talk about this, but I guess just even on Twitter I see here, let's just get into it. Let's spend a few minutes here, guys. Before I do though, I want to say hello to the guys that are hanging out. Eli, thanks for coming. Bobby, glad you made it. And everybody else who tunes in later and checks it out. I know you guys do, and I really appreciate you guys supporting the channel, and for, you know, even just checking in with the content, making the views, dropping the likes. I appreciate it. Thank you guys. But Bobby, the man, the myth, the Morgan, that could be a good t-shirt too there, Jim. And you might just be like man, myth, Morgan. You know what I mean? Like man and myth could be on the top line, and then Morgan and big bold in the. I could see that selling. You're gonna move some units with that one.
Yeah, I think we'll set it up. You know, if you want to put on your store, you take a percentage, whatever.
Honestly, if you ever do, you can, and we will. But but check this out. So, well, where to begin? Just maybe my only real thought is, you said you thought it was like his 6 million, and I think Aftersound covered it quite well today. And he disagrees with the guy using it, and that's fair. You know, someone, if people out there disagree with him using his 6 million SPS, because maybe one, he does represent the DAO. That's part of what he does. He oversees, or he represents, or something. He has an official capacity. If he was ever using the DAO SPS to sway the votes out of the SPS, like within the governance of the SPS, I think that would be a huge problem. But that's not what this is. He happens to have 6 million SPS, and he voted no. And I think, here's the thing, I think it's suspect that he does that, because it makes me wonder if, like, anybody voting no, I do think they like bot farms. But at the same time, I'm okay with people. Here's the thing, like, I really believe in decentralized governance, and I think if one of the amazing beauties of Splinterlands is that it has always aimed at that, and many people will feel like, well, it hasn't really worked, and this is one example, and we want to steer it correctly. And I would say I don't like governance in any respect, whether it's like at the, you know, the federal government of America or Canada. I have a problem with it. Like, I often find that they make mistakes and there's no accountability, and we put them in for a period of time and then they just run, you know, they do what they want to do. So the point is, I'd rather have decentralized governance where individuals truly have a sway. And I guess the criticism is that, well, that's not what exists here in Splinterlands, because, you know, it takes whales. That's what you hear people say, whale votes matter and mine doesn't. Well, in some sense, yes, but also when 100,000 times, you know, 100,000 times 10 is 10 million, or sorry, 100,000 SPS times 10 users with 100,000 is a million. So, I mean, and I have 100,000 SPS, and I think Steve has 400,000 or 500,000, and Jim, I forget how many you have, but do you still have the big SPS pool?
Yeah, 160K.
So, I mean, like, right there is like, you know what I mean? That's 3 people, and we're pushing 1 million. And I'm saying, you know, yeah, we're quote unquote big whales is what some people are going to say out there. But, you know, the truth is, we're people who like this game, and you believe in what it's doing and where it's going. And so do I, and so does Steve, and so do others. And we've positioned ourselves accordingly. And so, you know, I don't then want to say to somebody who believed in it and bought 6 mil, that oh, you can't push your vate. I mean, I even think Aggie and Mac should be able to say no if they want, because they hold SPS. But I know that gets a bit dicey because they are owners who are trying to decentralize the governance. But I'm just saying, like, every time we say this is a decentralized government model, and that's where we're aiming, and yet we kick against that model by saying, you know, so-and-so shouldn't be allowed. I just think that's a problem. And earlier you said you thought you misunderstood. And I just wanted to, I mean, I saw a tweet from, Gold Matters is covering it quite well on Twitter. And he posted something sharing his idea around, essentially, he should be allowed to vote how he wants. And I saw a comment from Aftersound saying, kind of defending his position of being against that. And I said to Aftersound, you know, unless he used his own 6 million. Here, let's see, where go home. Home, me, replies, I think. I love Gold Matters for all these memes. Splinterlands players, Zariel's Hail Countdown, Town Hall Countdown. Every day he's got a new one. But let's see, where is it?
Yeah, that guy's funny.
Yeah, I like him. I'm not going to find it now. Can't believe the complexity. Okay, this is the chain. So, back up one. So right here. Gold Matters goes, I can't believe the complexity of the narrative being created out of a single individual's vote. I don't believe that any SPS voter is obligated to explain their vote to anyone. I tend to agree. This is especially true when they are being pressured socially by community, aka mob. Do we want people to vote based out of fear of community backlash? This is insane. I almost want, Jim, like, I agree with Gold Matters, and I'm hoping that maybe you'll have some sort of articulation perhaps that can help me understand how Gold Matters is wrong, because So people are pressuring the guy and being like,
Yeah.
and everyone's calling for him to speak in this town hall that's going to be
Yeah.
live in 3 hours. And there's a ton of pressure. And I think, I don't know if like Mob's probably a bit feisty of Gold Matters, but I mean, he's trying to draw, he's trying to be a content creator too here. Right. So, I mean, I understand using that word and like kind of stir something. And Aftersound, he goes, since I'm part of the mob, I'll further detail my point. I don't care about any of the other votes against, large or small, but seeing as the voter in question is the head of the DAO, I put them on the same level as Aggie and Matt, want to better understand their view. I mean, I understand his point too, but it's one thing to ask for clarity. It's another thing to kind of almost demand it. And that's the mob.
Yeah.
That's the mob word that I think Gold Matters is alluding to. And then last, maybe one more point. I responded in here to Aftersound, and I said, unless they are voting with the DAO, I have to respectfully disagree with your concerns. And I'm not saying that I don't want to hear their voice, but I want to say that it should be okay for them to remain silent. And then perhaps Tails replied, and he goes, voter in question recently petitioned the game to take 30 million SPS from the DAO and essentially give to them to do as they see fit. That's a real exaggeration, and Tails knows it. This makes them unique with the community, within the community. That's true. It does. Absolutely. Okay. So I'm really going to push back on this part here. But I'm trying to be fair here. He's right. This person is unique within the community. Understanding their original position here is relevant. I believe we'll get our wish on tonight's town hall. So he's expecting them to speak tonight, and so am I actually. But I think that's out of like a mob. That's a response to the mob that he would have to come forward. And this comment, voter in question recently petitioned the game to take 30 million SPS from the DAO to essentially give to them to do as they see fit, is I don't know, it's at least confusing. That's me trying to be favorable here. It's confusing. And I said, are you implying that if we had allocated 30 million SPS to buy a token listing, which is what that 30 million was for, to buy a token listing, it wasn't for essentially, quote unquote, essentially give to them to see as they do, to do as they see fit. That's not what it was. That makes it sound like if he wanted to buy Ethereum with it, or if he wanted to, invest in the stock market, or if he wanted to, whatever he sees fit. Like, no, it was specifically assigned to negotiate, to put into a wallet that would have been governed through, as far as I understood, almost like a smart contract, not like in his hands even, in a smart contract situation where it was available at a moment's notice. Once an agreement was reached with a certain cryptocurrency exchange or two, that it would be, here, I've got the funds now, we can get it to you, today. So let's sort this. So again, it wasn't being given to him. It wasn't being used as he sees fit. It was specifically and exclusively for the token listing. And I think it's really important, because the implication wrapped up in this is that the DAO funds, the SPS 30 million or 50, I think there's actually 50 or 60 in there, that was somehow being used in this context, or the fact that we were going to give some of that to him in a previous proposal that didn't go through, that would have translated into him having access to more voting power. And it's not the case. And again, it might just be a misunderstanding. I want to be fair here. I think there's a lot of tension here, and I both get it and I don't. So I don't know, Jim, do you have any thoughts on this? And like, is there some angle you feel like maybe I'm overlooking, or maybe I'm being too harsh on anything I'm reading or something?
Yeah, the thing that kind of jumped out at me, a bunch of people wanting him to talk about why is it that you picked no on this. It's, so many people want him to talk about his reasoning, even though, yes, he doesn't have to, but it's because it's one of the biggest, I guess you could say, things that have happened in this game so far. Like, it's pretty much, it's not just going back on like what Splinterlands has said in the past, right? But it is changing essentially the foundation of what this game is, which is to get rid of bots, right? People want to take those steps into getting rid of bots, even though Aggro and Matt are, they didn't want to even touch that with a 20-foot pole, right? They're just like, if it happens, it happens. If they're not here, okay, they're not here. So the fact that he's against getting bots out of the game, you're pissing off so many people,
Yes.
especially with such a huge voice in this game, with however much SPS that he has. It's pretty much, people are like, this is one person with a large, it's not even a ridiculously large percentage of the SPS total staked, right? It's what, like 1%. So like, if you look at it like that, he's he's nowhere close to being a really big voice, even though compared to everyone else, he is a really big voice. So I think that people are just wanting him to talk, because since he's going against what most people want in this game, they pretty much demand an answer.
Yeah.
It would be like, say we're questioning a bunch of stuff in the US, and like 70% of the country wants to change something, and the president's like, no, we're not going to do it. Sit down. And people are like, whoa, what? I obviously know it's not the exact same, because president kind of makes up a lot more stuff than just 1% of the voice for a country. And the creators of the game aren't really stepping in to change it, so or voicing their opinion with their vote.
But I think I'm hearing you say it's reasonable to at least want to have this guy step up and hold up and like present that that explanation. Is that what is that part of what you're saying?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, so do I. I mean, we already know where Matt and Aggie stand on this, and they've said where they stand on this since months and months ago, right? Like, how many times have we heard them talk about this? This issue has not gone away, and it's one of the things that makes me hate this topic is that Matt and Agro have been, like, the creators of the game have been so clear about the intentions to never ban bots, and yet the question and the topic never goes away. It's like if you went to Disneyland and you're like, man, this is just like nothing like Six Flags. And you're like, well, go to Six Flags. I don't know, man. But at the same time, look, that on the one hand, I really believe that this game is doing one thing, and I like what it's doing, even though it's not perfect. But in the imperfection, I think some people out there that are hearing this are going to say, look, we're just trying to make it better. And we think getting rid of the bots would make it better. And I think I agree with that, like probably 90%. But again, there's a certain amount of unintended consequences that I think are going to come out of that if we ever get to that place. And I think we currently expect that will solve all of our problems. And I don't think it will. But like you all know, I voted yes on this thing, so yeah. And I asked the chat what they think. Nila goes, even if I don't agree with their choice of voting on this subject, I think you're right. Bottom line is that no one has to explain their votes, and this comes from the decentralized voting aspect. See, I respect this view, and I feel this view, but I also understand the interest in wanting to hear. Like, I mean, if Aggie and Matt were like, no, I'm just not going to tell you how I feel about bots. That'd be weird. And they're like a cornerstone of this space. here's the thing. If Ali comes out and says, I'm standing by my no because I don't like bots and I'm here for decentralization, just like Aggie and Matt have said the whole time, we haven't accepted Aggie and Matt's opinion, right? For probably 3 years, we've at least 2 years, we've really complained about the bots. And we've asked them to comment, and they have time and time and time again. And yet we haven't accepted it. We haven't moved on. We haven't been satisfied by their comment. And now I feel like we're demanding a comment from Ali. And I don't think it's going to, unless he comes out and says, well, I made a mistake and I'm changing DS. I don't see any resolution, because there's a strong voice that's going to complain if he says no. And to be fair, I want to circle back, because that might sound like I'm casting shade on, for instance, Aftersound or even Tails, because they both want him to come and speak. But at the same time, there's reason to want that within reasonability. Like, it's fair to want it. It's another thing, I think, to demand it. And I think, at least with that, I haven't heard Tails's. I haven't seen if Tails did a video on this, but I listened to Aftersound's video, and it was very patient. It was like, look, this guy's unique. We've heard Matt Nagy. We haven't ever really heard from this Ali guy except for the one time. Can we maybe just? I think that's part of the conversation too. Like, can we just get to know this Ali guy a bit better? I think that's part of it.
Mm-hmm.
Bobby says, "What I want with my money." I'll do what I want with my money. Why shouldn't he? Yeah, man. Bobby, I kind of missed the bots.
I don't blame you, man. I kind of miss my bot too.
Bobby, you're the best, buddy. As far as explaining it, have we ever wanted to hear from the head of the DAO before? I honestly can't remember. I think we really haven't, is the funny thing. But like, now the DAO is starting to really the decentralize, and the proposals are starting to really go somewhere. And I think it's not unreasonable to maybe have them come in, even if it's on like a once a year basis. Can we get, because that's kind of normal for if you were on like a shareholder within a company. And hey, I got to be careful about these analogies, because like the SEC, like they don't like that you might consider SPS like a share of a company. But we know that it is a certain amount of vote unto the decisions that are being made here. And so
it's not a percentage of what the company makes, so it's different. It's not like you actually own a stake of a company.
Excellent point, Jim. Thank you. But I do kind of think it makes some sense to at least have like a semi-regular appearance from the guy. I don't know. Probably. Like, why not, right? He's in this space. He has a voice. We have other people that come on that are just rich, right? Like, we have people come on that are just like friends of Aggie that just happen to like the game.
Neil gets on there.
Yeah, there you go.
I don't even know if he does anything for the game other than just being a large, shareholder.
Yeah.
Coin holder. Large coin holder.
Eli goes, it's sad to think that someone can come in and sway a decision that heavily, even if they aren't aware of the ramifications of the results, or if they don't play, for example. Someone can sway a decision that heavily, and if they aren't, do we know that he's not? This is something I've heard also, that he isn't. We don't even know. I think some people have raised the question, does he even know the ramifications of his vote? Or does he even play? And I don't think we have any evidence to say that he doesn't play, or that he does play. And I also don't think we have any evidence to say that he doesn't understand the ramifications, nor can I say that I feel confident he knows. I think we lack some clarity, and for these reasons, maybe it is best he comes and speaks. But I guess all I really wanted to tackle here in this conversation was a bit of, it feels a bit anti-decentralization when we start pointing fingers and saying, hey, you over there, explain why you're voting X, Y, or Z on, A, B, and C proposal. Because frankly, decentralization allows people to invest and to position themselves within the space and control governance through that investment. however they see fit. Like Bobby said, I'll do what I want with my money. Why shouldn't he? But Chuni's got a comment, so let's have a peek. Hi 12. Seems like Ali is in his. Hang on. Seems like Ali has the DAO's proxy at times to act, and I do think he is accountable to the DAO. Really, what should happen is he should abstain. It's a conflict of interest in my opinion. So he has the capacity to speak on behalf of the DAO. Okay, true. But I would say that conflict, there is a conflict of interest that can exist there. Chun, you're right. That can exist there. Here's what that would look like to me. If there was ever a vote, a proposal, for instance, like how about the last proposal? We should give 30 million SPS to Ali to go out and buy a listing on an exchange. And then Ali takes his 6 million and says yes. That feels a little conflict of interest. Do you see? Because it's like potentially putting him, even if, like I alluded to earlier, or maybe I said clearly, he was never going to have those in his hand. That was only going to be in an account that he would have access to, that he was never going to be able to withdraw from, apart from a contractual agreement where we would have been listed. So it was secure, it was safe. So you might say that's no conflict of interest, but I would argue that negotiation process is going to open certain doors. If you imagine like starting a conversation with major corporations and having essentially, let's even call, is it 3 cents? I can't do the math quickly in my head as to the US dollar value of what that would have equated to, but 30 million times roughly 3 cents at the time, even at 2 cents, I think it's 6 million. If I'm doing it quickly and if I'm doing it right. Anyways, it's some number of millions of US dollars. And it's a lot of US dollars regardless. And if we're essentially saying, I'm going to like create moments for you to go communicate, negotiate, build relationship with some of the biggest and most influential people in this space, I would say that's a benefit that's going to come out of you getting this opportunity, Ali. And so abstaining in that vote makes a lot of sense to me. But abstaining in a vote that has something to do with bots and not with how the SPS DAO, the SPS itself is governed, how the DAO is governed, it's literally, in this context, how are bots impacting the game, right? I guess you could bring in SPS rewards coming from battles are being, the distribution of SPS is being impacted by the operation of bots. Maybe that feels a little bit loose of a connection. I don't know. These are complex issues. I'm open to be convinced, and Chuni's point is the one that's kind of grabbing me the most, let's say. Jim, what do you think about what he said about the possible conflict of interest there?
I was thinking about it when you were saying oh yeah, we want to give 30 minutes to his hands and he votes with 6 mil, right, in favor of it. It kind of just reminds me of the politics in the U.S. It's like, oh, does everyone want to get a raise this year? What do you think? We'll vote on it. And then for like the last 20 years, they've all been passed. And that was the first thing that jumped in my brain. And when you brought up pretty much like every single year, kind of bring him on to have talk, I like quarterly because I would like to know where the mindset of this chairman is, right?
Yeah.
Like, because if it's like, then at that point, should the community or the DAO also be able to vote for whoever that chairman is if it's in line with their views? Does that make more sense?
Interesting. I kind of like that idea. Now, hang on a second, though. I like that idea because, again, decentralized governance. And if the team of investors, players that have accumulated SPS want to have a say and a sway in how that DAO is being overseen, I kind of like that idea. But I wonder... No, that makes perfect sense to me. I was going to try and push back a little, but I think that, the DAO is essentially the point of governance that SPS oversees. SPS is supposed to oversee what that DAO does.
Yeah.
And therefore, the person overseeing that, I think, probably should be elected. Yeah. And you alluded to politics and how kind of messy it can be and dirty and whatnot. There's back scratching, right? It's like, you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. And Chuni said one other thing. He goes, but Ali could be voting on behalf of investors and benefits from bots. Who benefit from bots, and should be able to ask that, I guess. But why can't you say the same thing in reverse about, I think this might be silly, but you could say Matt and Aggie are abstaining because they don't want to. No, that doesn't really make sense. I was going to try and reverse it, like, and say they're abstaining because they don't want to vote. They don't want to vote. They're trying to essentially represent a certain interest group. But no, I think abstaining, you're right. Like, abstaining is going to, I guess, give that space for the other community to make the decision. And I will go this far, and maybe this will be the last thing we'll say about this before we move on. Unless, Jim, you want to say something else. But I think, for me, the last thing is, if he was to have abstained with his personal 6 million, I would have felt that was a real smart move. Or even if he was, I don't even want to say if he was to have voted yes. I think I'm okay with him voting no. I'm okay with him voting yes. I would have thought it would be real classy if he had abstained, because of the nature of the tension that as a big voter, anyone is going to get. But the problem, the pushback I want to give my own comment is that I do believe we should be allowed to do whatever we want. So any of them was okay, but I think the one that would have given, like, just built new respect for me, for him, would have been the abstaining. But that doesn't mean I disrespected his yes, his no. That would have been neutral for me. But the abstain would have I guess grown my expectations or my confidence in who I imagine he is. Anything else you want to say on that, Jim?
Yeah, I think if you're some form of part of the team and, like, I guess any way, I think sustaining from it just makes a lot of sense, and letting the community do whatever it is they want.
Should that be a proposal? Like, in the future, should we have a proposal where if you're on staff, and he's not on staff actually, but you see my point? Like, I just wonder, because I think it's fair to say we want kind of black and white. We want to know where the lines in the sand are. We want to understand, is it fair for him to vote on this one and maybe not the next one? Are some going to be okay and others not? I don't know. Maybe there is some sort of proposal in the future for that, but I think he's allowed to vote. I think it's okay. And you know what? Regardless of what I think I do want to circle back and just say, I think Hales is probably right, that the guy probably is coming online tonight, and he is going to share what he has to say, but we'll see. It'll be very interesting to find out, because 5:00 tonight, they're going to go live, and if he doesn't come, I think there'll be so many comments. It'll be so spicy. It's going to be fun to watch.
People are going to be mad.
Yeah, they will. Paul, the main problem was voting on it in his position without any reason given to the community. Yeah, I feel like I already answered that one, Paul, but thanks for coming, buddy. And we'll definitely, I'm going to clip this part and put it on, so if you want to watch it again later, feel free. But yeah, man, I mean, I give you guys my opinion with 100,000. I think Steve probably does. I think all the YouTubers do, and we probably have millions. But if we ever wanted to, like, never not tell you that, like, we should be allowed to. And then you say, well, he has millions. Okay, but where's that line? And one day I want to have millions. Does that mean that, Dwayne is accountable to the community if I disagree with the community? And then how do we draw that line in the sand? Because, hey, guys, like, we all have an opportunity to buy more SPS today and increase our own vote. And I think if we argue that big holders of SPS should have less rights than small holders of SPS, and then I think we start to undercut the value and meaning and purposefulness of even acquiring SPS, big bags, I mean, because you're starting to say, are we, here's a question, and maybe are we saying that a certain threshold is too big of an SPS whale, and now you have to stay out of it? Because if we are saying that, and I don't know if we are, but if we are saying that, I think we're going to create a scenario where we're going to discourage big investors, because it's just too, you know what, even one of the best things about it is I have power over these proposals and I can direct the governance, but they don't even want me to direct the governance. And so I don't know. I think that's maybe a bit of a hairy kind of.
I really think the biggest difference here is that, you know, he is pretty much staff of Splinterlands. You know, if we're saying some person just rolls up with, you know, 10 million SPS, they've been playing a game for a bit, they like it, they have a bunch of money, and they're not even a part of the game or the creators. They're just a person who's invested a lot of money because they got deep pockets.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, sure, it's bad, especially if they're not on your side. But it's also good for if they think there is a better way to bring health into the game.
Cool. Check this out. Brandon, shout out to Brandon. Good to see you, buddy. Have you seen the Peak D post regarding his position? The fact that he changed his no changed from no to yes.
Oh, he changed his mind.
And then Bobby goes, "Oh, really? So the 6 million is for yes now?" And Chuni, yes, his article left the door open for more proposals related to bots, in my opinion. So I haven't read the proposal, or sorry, his article. But let's see. Somebody said,
could someone get us that link?
Paul said the link to his explanation is above, but I don't actually see any said link. So
Paul, send it to us on Discord.
Yeah, because I definitely want to have a peek at that now. I wonder if it would be in maybe in the Splinterlands Discord. Let's have a peek. Let's see, official announcements maybe. No, there's no new official announcements. Okay. Well, if he says yes at the end of the day, the only thing that makes me frustrated by, again, yes or no, whatever, but that makes me frustrated because it's like it feels like he was bullied into having to do that.
Imagine if he just misclicked and then woke up the next day after seeing all the negative stuff about it. He's like, "What, guys? I hit yes. Oh, whoops."
That would be a funny if he comes out tonight and that's what the answer we get. People will be the reactions would be priceless, because there'll be some people who will be furious about that sort of ineptitude.
Oh, I'd love it so much.
I would too, dude. I would too.
I would die.
Yeah, that'd be good.
But yeah, it looks like the highest no vote is Monster Veritas, which has like 2.7 mil.
So Paul said DAO discussion. I bet there's nothing but sweet, kind, gentle exchange happening here, right? Just
yeah, not all good things. All good things.
Okay, this is supporting the anti-pop. Oh no, that's not it. Is that it? We appreciate the significant interest in anti-pop proposals. Spoken. That's great. Distance here. This is Ali, right? Yeah, Ali Madhavi. Supporting the anti-bot proposal, a step toward addressing community concerns while keeping future possibilities open. Yeah, right there, because Chuni said he spoke to like enabling, a sustained, like another maybe. He wants to be able to vote on it in the future. Let's see. While we have highlighted below the potential for benefits of bots and AI in Splinterlands, it is crucial to acknowledge and address the community's concerns surrounding the impact on the game. As a result, we are changing our vote to support the anti-bot proposal. However, we believe that this is an issue and it should be revisited in the future as the potential benefits of bots and AI can be harnessed while limiting their negative effects on the player experience. I agree with that point, actually. I mean, I want to see bots in Champion and Diamond and Gold. I want them to be created by Splinterlands with no ability to earn at all. And I want them to be like, I don't care if they're ghost cards, just like print the card, like make it a ghost card, but like essentially spoof the deck so that it's at a perfect diamond level, a perfect champ level. And the reason I say that is because I want the bots to fill the lines and give us matches so much faster. And that would resolve in some sense. Now it would take up server space, but if we ever, if we ever get to a place where it takes 2, 3, 4 minutes to play a match, that shouldn't happen. And it used to happen, but it shouldn't. And this is using AI and bots could be part of how we solve for that. Highlights on the benefits of bots. I don't want to read all this, but I'm going to quickly read the titles. Highlights from bots, the benefit of bots, enhancing gameplay experience. I guess that's the timing. You know, you get matches faster. Facilitating skill development. I guess that's true. You theoretically could, you know, watch what they do, or you could also play more often because they're in there. Encourage inclusivity and equal access. I hate the word inclusivity. Economic benefits. I don't know about that. Let's see. How does he explain that one? The presence of bots and AI can have positive economic implications for Splinterlands. For instance, bots can contribute to the liquidity of the in-game market makers. I guess that's true, but that's often exploited rather than benefited. But it's not necessarily not 100% exploit. Like the bots play the card market and they'll undercut you by a penny if you list lower than them, for instance. That's how I would say they are a problem. But he's saying like they could be beneficial in the market context also. Supporting the anti-bot proposal demonstrates our commitment to addressing the concerns of the Splinterlands community. Many players have expressed frustration about the impact of bots on their gameplay experience, and the proposal aims to alleviate those concerns. By voting in favor of the anti-bot proposal, we show that we value the feedback of the community and we're willing to take action to address their concerns. I guess that's true. To me, what it shows, and this might sound cynical, is that they were willing to be bullied. Like, I think whenever you see, like, you know, efforts to cancel so-and-so because they said X, Y, or Z, and then they just come out and they say sorry, that's what this feels like to me, to be honest. Encourage ongoing discussion and collaboration. Yeah, always we want to have ongoing discussion. Future reevaluation. So he doesn't want to have they will potentially vote on other things in the future. In conclusion, we have changed our vote to support the anti-bot proposal. And we have open mind to bots and AI. We believe that working together, the community can find innovative solutions to harness the positive aspects of bots while minimizing the negative effects. As we move forward, it is crucial to maintain a constructive dialogue and remain open to reevaluating the roles of bots and AI in Splinterlands. Yeah, I mean, hard to disagree with most of that. And again, he's allowed to, in my opinion, vote yes, no, or maybe so. But I think that is not going to alleviate. Tonight, there'll be fireworks in the town hall, guys. I think you're not going to want to miss this one. Town hall is going to be spicy because if he comes out and says, I voted no because X, Y, or Z, I bet every reason he gives, we hate. And then he's going to say, but we changed our vote to yes. And whatever reasons he gives, including citing that article, I suspect people aren't going to be satisfied. Yeah, you can change your vote. Brandon says, does the SPL UI allow a no vote once has voted yes? Yeah, you can change your vote. I've changed my votes before, I think.
Yeah, you're able to. You just click the other button.
This will change your vote from for to against. I'm doing this to confirm. Plus my 100,000 doesn't like move the needle, but I am going to go back to a yes. And just to demonstrate that it does allow you to move back and forth.
I'm going to vote no. And I don't need to give a reason.
Well said, Jim. Okay, well, I think we had to talk about it, but
yeah.
And there's
an elephant in the room.
It is, and it's going to be all over the town hall tonight. So there's that. And I was reading my comments before we went live, and it was like a lot of them were you know, the bots and the bots and the bots. And
Mhm.
a lot of people are like, in my opinion, sick of it though, is what I'm hearing is the thing. It's not so much that they just don't want to, they want decentralization or that they want Ali to be able to do whatever he thinks he sees fit. It's more like, I just don't want to hear about it anymore. And I'm right there with you guys. Like the sooner we'd kill this issue, the better.
Well, it should be over in about 3-4 days.
I hope so. I really hope so. But I feel like that proposal is not gonna, it's not gonna immediately solve anything. It's more of like a, okay, we agree we should solve it. How do we solve it?
True. True.